Chejon Fernandez had it all: a great life, promising career, and bright future. The South African-born athlete was living in Greece, where in a split second, everything came crashing down. A rugby tackle in a friendly match in Malta left him paralysed and in a wheelchair. But instead of breaking him, Chejon used his disability to change the course of his life, becoming a Paralympic sporting hero who now inspires people around the world.
Today we'll be hearing the fascinating story of Chejon Fernandez and how he overcame a life-changing rugby injury to winning medals on the international stage. Hi Chejon, thank you and welcome.
Thank you for the invitation.
So can you take us through your childhood and your background and how you ended up in Greece up to the point where you had the accident that changed your life?
I was born in Zimbabwe to a Portuguese father and mother had Dutch English heritage. And I grew up in Zimbabwe until I was around about 15 years old. And then we moved to South Africa. I went to high school in King Williamstown, to Dale College. And there I really enjoyed, started playing rugby and being a very active sportsman. I wasn't very good at rugby, but I really enjoyed playing it. I stayed there, completed high school. And then after that, I was a little bit not too sure what I could do with my life, and decided to come to Greece on holiday. We came out, I fell in love with it, and my brother and I decided to stay here in Greece. And I went to the American University and got a degree. And things in life were going very well, and it was perfect. The only thing is we didn't have rugby here. So a bunch of expats got together and we created a team and we were playing sort of weekend warrior rugby. And it was one of these trips that we decided to go. We'd tour either in Turkey or in Spain, and we went to Malta for a competition. And we were playing against the national side of Malta. And that's when I suffered a C5, C6 fracture on my neck, and I became paralyzed from the chest down.
Can you take us through exactly how your accident happened?
We're competing Athens against, or Greece against Malta. We were having a fantastic game. I scored the first try. I was on a high. I thought this was really, really good. Secretly, I had planned for that to be my last game because I wanted to focus a little bit more on work. And I went into a tackle, and he was a very big guy. He was a world wrestling champion. And I went in thinking that I'd be able to use my force to knock him over. And his shoulder connected my head, and that's when I broke my neck. So I lay on the field. We lay for about an hour. The ambulance couldn't get onto the field because it was a semi-professional game. There weren't ambulance or anything like that there. Eventually, I got to the hospital. They gave me, they sort of screwed a couple of weights onto my head to extend the neck injury. And they gave me some steroids to try and reduce the swelling. Because I didn't have any medical coverage in Malta, I had to wait there for a week to fly back to Athens, where the operation took place. So at that stage, I thought, oh, okay, it's just a scratch. I'm going to get better. But completely paralyzed at that time from the neck down. I couldn't move my arms or anything. Family, friends, everybody completely flipped out and went crazy. I arrived in Athens. We had a 13-hour operation. They had to open both the back and the front. The doctors were convinced that I had been in some horrific car accident. They couldn't imagine that the damage to my spinal cord and the vertebra had come from playing a game. Once I'd finished the operation, Greece's rehabilitation at that stage wasn't very good. I stayed in the National Hospital for about 2 months. I lost a total of 20 kilos just because we're completely immobile. And my family were freaking out completely. My sister and brother at that stage were still in South Africa, and my sister found a very small rehabilitation clinic called Riverfield Lodge quite close to the Lion Park in Johannesburg. And she kind of said, it looks very pretty and it's very nice. And I think they were kind of just thinking that, this is my retirement home. This is, where they were going to put me off. So we managed to get Chris Berger funded my ticket back to South Africa. As I said, before the accident, I didn't have any insurance at all. So the cost of trying to get me back from Malta to Athens and the operation cost, a lot of people, or my ex previous colleagues at work and customers that I had sold books to at that stage, chipped in and sort of supported me that way.
In many ways, it's sports that's given you this disability, but it's also sports that's basically saved you.
Absolutely. Coming back to, as I said, from South Africa, I came back to Greece in 2002, and I found a social disability club, and they had an athletics section, and they asked me, say, would you like to train? I said, yes. I thought if I could get a wheelchair race, I could become, a real sprint and become famous or something, And they said, well, the chair is going to cost you 6,000 euros at that point. I thought there's just no way, after being all the expenses that I had. But they said, we do have a throwing frame. So if you want to try shot put, I thought shot put is going to be boring as anything. But they said, we'll give you a coach and we can see if you're interested. I tried it out for a while. And it wasn't too bad, but it was part of the exercise. And I thought it was just, let's keep on going. We'll use it as a form of rehabilitation. Building up to London 2012, Channel 4 did a fantastic advertising campaign. They were in charge of the Paralympics. And they sort of branded the Paralympics as superhumans. And it really did a huge thing for all Paralympians, because I remember being in the stadium, going into the stadium, and there were kids outside asking for our autograph and things like that. And they really believed that we were these superhuman characters, that we just used the wheelchair to get around. These were our hidden superpowers kind of thing. And the stadium in London was sold out every single day. I mean, for that, I think was both for the athlete and for people around the world said, this is actually something worth watching. This is something, that's worthwhile. We can take note of it. So I think perceptions have changed. It takes a long time. I don't think it'll ever be fully accepted, because I think there are too many unknowns, and the people are not exposed to it. But this is one of the reasons why I want to continue sport in sort of a fun way of going out. And these last two runs, especially yesterday and today, were about showing people that athletes can participate in fun runs. We can participate in daily activities. We need accessibility, yes, but we need participation as well. So I think there's always room for improvement. In 2019, I went with my wife to Chicago for the first time, and accessibility was amazing. I was going, what? This is just too easy. There's no anxiety at all. And their American Disability Act is really enforced in the government, and it comes from top down. So wherever you go, any supermarket, shop, anything, there's accessibility everywhere. In some towns, especially the old part of Athens, buildings weren't built with that, with the wheelchair in mind. The lifts are very small. So I think it'll take time to come over, but it's our duty as users of wheelchairs and things like that to actually go out and show people that we live every day in our lives. We're in the world. You need to help us in these sort of things. So going to show people that, okay, don't park in a disabled spot. We might need a ramp in a disabled spot. The ramp, these sort of things that a single stair might seem silly or nonsensical for somebody else, but for us it could be like climbing Mount Everest. So I think it's our duty to become and help people become aware of the fact of the differences.